Hello everyone, this is Neha Sharma, Assistant Professor, Institute of Information Technology and Management. And as I used to say in all my videos that I'm proud to be associated with this institute IITM since 2008. Now being the professor at IITM, now I'm coming out with a new series of videos for the subject compensation management. Compensation management subject is one of the MBA specialization subject for HR students. So for the students, those who have taken HR as their specialization. So we'll be coming out with a series of videos on compensation management, and I'm going to cover the entire syllabus of this compensation management subject with respect to the Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. Fine. So let's start with the very introductory and the small topic on compensation management. And the topic for today is goals, objectives, and principles of compensation management. Now, before moving to the exactly what are the goals and objectives and principles of compensation management, let's start first with the basic definition of what do we mean by compensation management. So, compensation management, whenever it comes to our mind, it is basically for every layman when we talk about compensation, everything is in terms of monetary work, in monetary benefit or monetary values to the employees in exchange or whatever work is being performed by the employees in the organization. It is basically whatever you are contributing as an employee to the organization, and in return to that, what salary, wages, and bonuses you are getting from the employer of the organization. That is termed as compensation for most of the people. And yes, it is true also. But being the HR professional, you should know that compensation management not only include the monetary value or the monetary or the cash benefits to the employees, it also includes non-monetary benefits to the employees also. It is in total of both the monetary as well as non-monetary payments to the employee in exchange of whatever work they are contributing to the business of the organization. So both financial as well as non-financial aspects are covered in compensation management. Fine. So let's come to now the goals and objectives of compensation management. The very first important objective, or you can say the goal of compensation management, is to attract, recruit, and retain the qualified employees within the organization. First of all, to attract, it is basically a sound wage and salary administration in any organization. It helps to attract qualified and hardworking people by ensuring an adequate payment for all the jobs in the organization. For example, we see that IT companies are competing with each other and they try their level best to attract the best talents by offering better compensation packages. And it is not only the scenario in the IT companies, it is in every industry. People, the employers, they are hunting people from different organizations in the same industry from their competitors only on the basis of good salary and wage administrative system within the organization. Fine. So that was the first main objective of compensation management. In proceeding with that, we also have, I mean, the main objective of compensation management again is to retain the qualified employees. It is like by paying employees at the competitive level, the company can retain its personnel within the organization. It actually minimizes the incidence of quitting and increasing the employee loyalty within the organization. So that's one of the most important objective of compensation management. Another important point is to increase the satisfaction level and morale of the employees. And very well, this is self understood that yes, if the people are happy with the wage and salary administrative system in the organization, they are being paid fairly and equally within the organization, definitely their morale and satisfaction will be high and they'll be able to perform better. So as the third point also says that it motivates employees to perform better in the organization. They are able to provide better productivity in the organization. Also, why do we need to have good compensation system in the organization? Basically to determine the basic wage and salary administration. It is easy to say the salary and this wage administration, but it is very difficult to maintain because it requires a lot of record keepings, and that too not only just the record keeping, it has to be very competitive, it has to be in trends with the market analysis, in trends with the competitive analysis. So it is not that easy to determine the basic wage and salary administration in the organization. Next important point is to achieve internal and external equity. Internal equity means within the organization, same people, with the same qualification, people doing the same kind of work, same experience, definitely should be paid same. And external equity means people belonging to the other competitor firms or people from the other organization in the same industry. We need to compare the competitors wages and our own wages, and there has to be an equity into that. Otherwise definitely it would be very difficult for the organization to retain good people within the organization. So that was again another important objective of compensation management. Another important point is it ensures equal pay for equal work. That is, I talked about internal equity, and each individual's pay is fair in comparison to that of another person doing a similar job. Now this is all about internal equity, I've talked in the previous point. So equal pay for equal work, irrespective of gender, irrespective of any other norms which are being followed in the organization. There has to be fair and just compensation system in the organization. Another important objective is it supports, communicate, and reinforce an organization's culture, value, and competitive strategy. Ultimately, whatever wage and salary administration you have within the organization, it is going to support the entire organization because it is going to retain and attract good people within the organization. It is going to communicate to the entire industry, to the market outside, that how well you are paying to their employees. And it also reinforces an organization culture, value, and competitive strategy that you are using. Another important point is it reduces the turnover and encourages company loyalty. We have already discussed this. Yes, it improves the employee loyalty within the organization, as well as it helps in retaining good people within the organization, and ultimately it will reduce the attrition rate and turnover of employees from the organization. Another important objective is it helps in rewarding for exceptional performance of the employees with the plans including like bonuses, commission, profit sharing, stock options, etc. So these these plans in the form of a reward which are being given to the employees for their exceptionally and good performance in the organization, like bonuses, commission, profit sharing, and stocks. These are also a part of compensation management, and this is again one of the most important goal and objective of the compensation system, to reward employees, those who are actually performing so well, exceptionally well in the organization. Another important objective is it helps in controlling the cost aspect of the organization. A rational compensation system helps the organization to obtain and retain workers at a reasonable cost. Another important objective is it complies with the legal regulations. A sound wage and salary system within the organization consider the legal challenges imposed by the government and ensures the employee compliance to it. Next is it attracts the manpower in the competitive world. We have already discussed this. It controls the wage and salary and labor cost by determining rate change and frequency of increment. It also maintains a satisfaction level of employees in the organization by exhibiting that remuneration is fair, adequate, and equitable within the organization. And it induces the reward and for the improved performance, for the exemplary performance of the employees in the organization, because we all know money is a very effective motivator for all the employees, for even all the, I would say, for all the mankind. money is really an effective motivator. So that's why we need to have a good compensation system within the organization. These are some of the goals, the basic goals for compensation management system in the organization. Now let's talk about the goals only, but specifically for the employees in the organization. What will happen to the employees in the organization if we have a good compensation system in the organization? So the first important thing is employees will be paid according to requirements of their job. It means that it will actually eliminate inequalities. Highly skilled jobs which requires a good level of skills, a high level of skills, and more experience, better communication, better teamwork. They are paid more as compared to the jobs which require low skills, or maybe sometimes the unskilled jobs are paid less. So that fair and just situation will be there for the employees in the organization if we have a good compensation system. The chances of favoritism, which actually creeps in when wage rates are assigned, that favoritism and all, are greatly minimized if you have a good salary and wage administrative system, a good compensation system in the organization. Job sequences and lines of promotion are established wherever they are applicable. This is also one of the important major aspect of good compensation system, and this is quite beneficial, and it will actually increase the morale of the employees in the organization. And yes, employees morale and motivation are increased because of the sound compensation system. Now let's see what's in there for the employers if we have a good compensation system. Employers, they can systematically plan for and control the turnover in the organization. They can very well plan the employee turnover and attrition in the organization, because if they have a good compensation system in the organization, employees are going to get attracted towards the organization. The people from the market, from the competitors, are going to get attracted towards this organization, as well as the talented employees within the organization. It will be very easy for the employers to retain them. So today we are talking about talent management. So this is again one of the major aspects that contributes to talent management in the organization. Another point for the employers is a sound compensation structure reduces the likelihood of friction and grievances over remuneration. Now, there might be a lot of remuneration grievances within the organization every now and then, maybe grievances from the people in trade unions, maybe from the employees at any level in the organization. So that gets reduces to largely to a great extent if we have a sound, fair, and just compensation system in the organization. It enhances, again, the same thing, it enhances the morale and motivation of the employees in the organization. And how this is going to benefit the employers, because if the employee is highly motivated with a good morale, definitely he'll be able to contribute well to the organization. The productivity of the employee will increase, and simultaneously the productivity of the organization will also increase. And the next point is it attracts, as we have already discussed, qualified and good employee to the organization if we have adequate payment system in the organization. So these are some of the points of goals and objectives of good compensation system in the organization for employees as well as for employers. Now let's come to principles of compensation management. Now, compensation management, let me tell you, when the money aspect is involved, and that to the salary and bonuses of the employees are involved in the organization, it is a very sensitive and crucial aspect of human mankind. And its adequacy and inadequacy will definitely going to affect either positively or negatively the competitiveness of the organization. And it might happen, the inadequacy, it might happen, the inadequacy of this compensation system may lead to higher attrition rate of the employees. It may lead to low morale, low commitment, and ultimately it will affect the productivity of the employees, and ultimately the productivity of the organization, and it will lead to poor consequences in respect of competitiveness of the organization. So it is very well, it needs to be very well clear that what are the basic principles on which the compensation system should be designed and administered in the organization. So these are some of the principles I'm going to highlight. The first principle is differences in pay should be based on differences in job requirements. As we have already discussed this point in goals and objectives of human this compensation management, that there should be equal pay for equal work in the organization, irrespective of gender differences. If you have the same level of experience, if you have the same qualification, you have the same level of the kind of job you are doing, then the salary, the wage system, the incentive should be same for both the persons. That equal work, equal pay for equal work should be administered. That's the first principle. Next is wage and salary level. Definitely it should be in line with the those prevailing in the job market. As I said, the salary needs to be competitive means whatever the salary is going on and following the trends in the market, in the industry, we need to adopt that salary system. Otherwise would be very difficult to retain good people in the organization. Next is recognize individual differences in abilities and contribution. Also, you need to recognize when you are going to pay in terms of incentives, you need to recognize individual differences, how people are contributing to the organization, what are their abilities, what are their skills, and how much willingly they are doing their job and accomplishing their task at the end of the day. So you need to recognize these things, and thereafter then only you can decide the performance based incentives for the employees. Employees and trade unions should be involved in while establishing wage rates. We need participation, equal participation from employees as well as the representatives of employees, the trade unions, to establish the wage rates. Their consent has to be there. Whatever changes you are administering in this way compensation system, also in that also we need the participation of trade unions, their consent of trade unions. It is required. Next is the wages should be sufficient to ensure for the worker and his family reasonable standard of living. Yes, definitely the wages and salary of the workers, of the employees should actually ensure the reasonable standard of living for them. There should be clearly established procedure for redressal of grievances concerning wages. Okay, there should be proper system of solving the grievances within the organization, and it should be communicated well to the employees beforehand. Next is the wages and salary structure should be flexible enough as per the market condition, as per the introduction of new skills in the organization, and as and when you are coming out with the changes and restructuring in the organization, so it should be flexible accordingly. Wages due to employees should be paid correctly, on time and promptly. Yes, definitely. And the wage committee should review and revise wage from time to time, because as we are in the dynamic environment, and every now and then we can see the changes, and we have to take care of the employee. The organization needs to be employee centric, because I also personally believe if you take care of the employees of the organization, ultimately your customers will be satisfied, because once your employees are satisfied with you, with the organization, with the terms and conditions of the organization, they'll put their 100%. They will be willingly doing all the tasks, all the activities with 100% commitment. So the ultimately result would be that your customers will be highly satisfied with the services, because ultimately these services are provided by the employees of the organization. So take care of your employees, your customers will automatically be very much satisfied at the end of the day. And ultimate objective of any organization is customer satisfaction. Fine. So that was the first topic I came out with, just an introductory topic in compensation management. We talked about the definition, the goals and objectives, and ultimately the principles underlying the compensation system. Thank you, everyone. And very soon I'm going to come out with another video in the series of compensation management. Thank you so much.